Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Dyro here with another options and play video update. Question came up today, and I thought it was kind of an interesting one. It was concerning like how to know like what expiration to select for like a specific setup. In this case, it was like a breakout setup, right? And I thought it was interesting because it is like something that's really important. I mean, it's important all the time, but especially right now because we've had like a lot of like stocks that are stuck in lower ranges that continue to stay stuck, right? Um, so when looking at like a resolution of a consolidation, so in this case we're going to talk about two breakouts, but you could apply like the same thinking to like breakdowns as well. Like when I'm looking for a stock to potentially break out, so like for Facebook, to me, like the level would be basically the 50-day, which is this black line, right? So you can see if I draw a little bit of like a trend, kind of lines up. It's not exact, but it is like a level to me that looks kind of relevant. And the 50-day, which is kind of like the top of the trend, right? It had issues holding above the 50-day in March and April. It briefly popped above the 50-day in May, couldn't really hold it, right? So you can see that the 50-day kind of lines up with the trend, and it's an important spot. And if it gets through the 50-day, it could really start to accelerate to the upside, right? Now the problem is Facebook, it's not at the 50-day, and it's definitely not above the 50-day, right? So if you're looking for a breakout and a pattern where it's not imminent, right? Like you might think you might think it could break out imminently, but like technically it's not saying that just yet, right? Because it's still stuck in like a lower range. It's still not at the 50-day. It's obviously not above the 50-day. So for me, if this is like the true level that indicates a breakout, then if it's something I want to focus on, like yeah, I might have like a partial position underneath, right? And then maybe add once it actually breaks out. But if I'm doing like a partial position, or even if I want to get involved early, I need to err on the side of more time versus less time, right? Because you're trying to anticipate something, you're not reacting to something. And when you're anticipating something, it doesn't always line up exactly in the time frame you expect, right? You might think it could happen in a week or 2 weeks, but there's also the chance that it takes a while to get up to the 50-day, and it takes a while to get through the 50-day. So if I'm trying to anticipate something, I'd rather err on the side of more time with options than less time, right? So not like weeklies or 2 weeks. I'm thinking more like several weeks to like a month plus, okay? Just because you don't know when it's going to get there and you don't know how long it's going to take to break out. So I'd rather have more time than less time, right? Now, a different setup, right? So Shopify, it's trying to break out of this lower range, right? The 20-day and the 8 EMA were like a tight lower resistance range. Is starting to tick up. So for me, this looks like a pattern that's a breakout seems imminent, right? Like it's starting to push through resistance. It looks like if it's going to work, it should work in the very near term, right? Because it's starting to move through like those key levels. So whereas Facebook wasn't quite there yet, Shopify seems to be. So like for this one, I might go shorter expiration because it seems like if it's going to work, it should work soon, right? Because it's starting to push through the levels. It's starting to trigger the pattern, and for a setup like this, you would think that if it works, it should happen relatively quickly. Okay, so this is definitely something like that you really want to focus on when you're looking at options. It's like, are you anticipating or are you reacting, right? And like that's going to really determine what type of expiration period you go with, like short term or long term. Okay, so I'm expecting a pretty busy day to wrap up the week. We'll see how it goes with the earnings and the jobs report, and I mean things are moving, so there's opportunities out there, right? So if you like this video and you're looking for more information about swing trading with options, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. Have a great night, stay well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.